from West Wareham, Mass. In the 2013 Audi S4. Gerard up top, Perry down the low line here. Green is out. They are off into turn 1 and 2. Gerard jumps out to the advantage, down into 3 and down off of 2 down the backstretch. Brennan Gerard leading off 4. Checkered flag waves from Steve Bowden at the stripe. Gerard that's gonna bring up Rat Robs. Rob Gingras from Fairhaven in his 1949 Ford F2. Matching up against Franz Island Pontiac Trans Am 1994. At the stripe, set to go. Green flag down in the air. Franz Weidinger jumps out to the advantage. Here comes Rat Robs battling back right to the back bumper, down into turn 3 and 4. Rat Robs with a head of steam. Here he goes. Does he have enough? Weidinger off 4 across the stripe. Weidinger. Does he have enough to knock off Carlito Mello in round 1? Green is out. Here we go. Carlito Mello gets a good jump. Down into 1. Advantage to Mello. Off 2. Down the backstretch. Carlito Mello into 3 and 4. Liam Monahan going to get a little bit loose. Checkered flag waves. Carlito Mello moving on. Battle of the Chevys here. DeRoches down the low line. Smith up top. Green flag in the air, down into 1 and 2. Give the advantage to Smith on the high line. Smith checks out to the lead, down into 3. Here comes DeRoches battling back, gets a little loose, doesn't have enough. Jared Smith gonna move on. At the stripe, set to go. Green flag in the air, give the advantage to Williams. Down off 2, Nate Williams leading Louis Diaz into 3 and 4. Smooth sailing for Williams. Checkered flag as the Fiero goes around in 3. Nate Williams moving on. Steve Bowden checking them over. Gives the thumbs up. Set to go. Green is out. Down into 1. Fielding jumps out to the advantage. Off of 2. John Fielding over Walter Wickenbach. Into 3 and 4. Fielding looking for the checkered flag. Steve Bowden lets it fly. John Fielding going to move on. Green flag. Michael Oliveira down into turn number 1 with the advantage. Henshaw got all types of loose. Oliveira off 4. Checkered flag waves. He'll move on. At the stripe. Set to go. Green flag in the air, down into 1 and 2. Barros with the advantage. Here comes Purse, battling back, head of steam, off 2, down the backstretch. Christine Purse going for the lead, into 3 and 4. Got the nose advantage. Does Barros have enough to hold on? No, he does not. Christine Purse going to move on. Purse moving on. That brings up Andrew Joseph from Mattapoisett in the 1975 Chevy Vega. Gil Bradstreet from Seekonk in the 1989 Chevy Camaro. At the stripe, set to go, into 1 and 2. Give the advantage to Joseph in the Chevy Vega, but here comes Bradstreet. Crossover move, battling back, into turn 3. Bradstreet with the advantage on the low line. Slams the door shut, gets loose. Loses a part off that thing too, and holds on for the win. Medeiros, 1982 Chevy Camaro. Paul Curtis, 1964 Chevy Chevelle, down into 1. Curtis jumps out to the lead. Paul Curtis, smooth sailing into 3 and 4. Here comes Medeiros right to the back bumper. Not enough time. Checkered flag. Paul Curtis moving on. Steve Bowden looks him over. Waiting on the green. Green flag out. Give the advantage to Hernandez. Down into 1. Hernandez off 2. Not much of a battle. Sam Hernandez into 3 and 4. Going to come to the checkered flag and move on. Green flag in the air. Here they go. Down into 1. Winicki on the high line, but here comes Garaga. Hansel Garaga into 3 and 4. Off of 4, checkered flag waves. Garaga going to move on, continuing to whittle the field down. Green flag in the air. Here they go, down into 1. Franz Weidinger on the outside. Jutras on the inside. Weidinger with a nose advantage. He's going to check out. Down into turn 3 and 4. Franz Weidinger. Checkered flag waves. He's moving on. Green flag in the air. Here they go. Gerard with a great jump down into 3 and 4. Or down into 1 and 2. Gerard with the advantage over Smith. Smith was on the podium last week. Here he comes with a head of steam. Into 3 and 4. Coming. Here we go across the stripe. Smith gets it. What till the end. Here they go, down into 1. Carlito Mello gets the advantage over Fielding. Off 2, down the backstretch. Fielding trying to mount a charge back. They go into 3 and 4. Carlito Mello. Off of 4, checkered flag. Carlito Mello moving on. Down into 1, Williams gets the advantage. Purse going to try to mount a comeback down the backstretch. Williams smooth sailing in that Subaru WRX into 3 and 4. Williams going to come to the checkered flag and hold on, moving on. Green flag in the air. Paul Curtis with the nose advantage over Oliveira. They battle door to door in turn number 2. Off the down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Curtis with the advantage. Here they come, off of 4, checkered flag. Paul Curtis going to move on. At the stripe, set to go. Green flag in the air. Bradstreet with the advantage. Off of 2, down the backstretch. Gil Bradstreet into 3 and 4. Checkered flag waving. Gil Bradstreet going to move on. Green flag in the air, down into 1. Franz Weidinger gets the advantage. Off 2, down the backstretch. Franz Weidinger into 3 and 4, smooth sailing. Checkered flag waves. Franz Weidinger going to move on. One of them going to be moving on. One of them going pit side. Jared Smith, Nate Williams. Here they go, down into turn 1, door to door. Williams with the advantage, but here comes Smith. Down into 3 and 4, Smith with the nose advantage. Williams battling back. Here they go, across the stripe. Smith gonna move. Nate Williams, last week's winner, gonna head pit side. Paul Curtis has looked strong. Does he have anything for Carlito Mello? Green flag in the air. Here they go, down into 1 and 2. Carlito Mello pushes Curtis up the track. He's going to have to battle back down into 3 and 4. Carlito Mello slamming the door shut. Moving on. At the stripe. Green is out. Weidinger. Little slow to get going. That gives Bradstreet the advantage. Gil Bradstreet down the backstretch. Into 3 and 4. Coming to the checkered flag, Gil Bradstreet. Moving on. Carlito Mello. Jared Smith. This one should be a solid matchup. Carlito Mello. Jared Smith down into one. Mello gets a great jump. Jared Smith going to have to do all he can to battle back on the high line, battling back, closing in, into 3 and 4. Carlito Mello slamming the door. Smith gets loose, goes for a crossover. I believe that one was very close to call. Officials signaling them both back in, but you got a race for third is indeed correct. So, here we go. Smith and Weidinger going to battle for third here. Green flag in the air, down into 1 and 2. Give the advantage to Smith on the high line over Weidinger. Weidinger smoking it down off 2 into 3 and 4. Jared Smith from Boontown, New Jersey. Checkered flag, he'll take it home in a few events now. Gremlins bit him last week on Father's Day. In the finale tonight. Green flag in the air. Here they go. Mello gets a great jump off the stripe. Into 1 and 2. Carlito Mello. Smooth sailing in that Eagle Talon. In 1990, Bradstreet gets a little loose. Checkered flag. Round number 1 goes to Carlito Mello. Here they are at the stripe, set to go. Green flag, Carlito Mello, another great jump. Down into 1 and 2. Carlito Mello looking to take home the East Coast Towing and Recovery Spectator drags. Checkered flag waves. Gil Bradstreet goes around in 3 and 4. Carlito Mello, your East Coast Towing and Recovery Spectator drag winner. Last week, obviously you got it fixed, got it back out here. What's it mean to be back in victory lane tonight?
Feels good. The beginning of the season has been a tough one, but I got a good team behind me. Shout out Mike Vincent Tuning. He got this baby back where it is right now. He helped me out last week after I had an issue. Shout out Crothers Tires, and shout out 781 Motorsports.
Of course, some gremlins bit you last week. What happened?
My battery terminal was like split in half completely. You got to remember this, a 30-year-old car. It's going to have issues, but as long as you got good people behind you, you can do amazing things. And I want to shout out Gil and Jared. They're great competitors. Me and Gil were talking for a while in the pits, having a good time. Everybody I race with, I consider a good friend.
Anybody you want to thank?
Just Mike Vincent, Crothers, Tommy Crothers, and Chris Riccatelli from 781 Motorsports. I want to thank my girlfriend and her whole family, my mom, dad, everybody who comes out to watch.
Carlito Mello with the win here in the East Coast Towing and Recovery Spectator drags. Gil Bradstreet, you brought it home second here. What more did you need to get past Carlito there?
Power steering would have helped. I lost power steering on my first race. No excuses, but this car is not exactly the easiest beast to handle with power steering. So without power steering, it's all over the place.
Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, Gary Avila, Avila's Towing, Spar Racing Engines for giving me the opportunity to run this. Gary's not even around. He's out in Colorado for a wedding. Like to thank Boss Lady Graphics, Whitey, TTM Motorsports, me. That's about it.
All right. Bringing home the podium once again this week, all the way from Boontown, New Jersey. Smith, Jared, what more did you need to maybe get past Carlito and make it to that finale?
So I wanted to start off by saying, like, I'm just saying what happened with the car. No excuses. He outdrove me today, but I made the same mistake a few races ago. Today, I launched it way too high RPM and it started spinning, and I tried to drive around, but couldn't pull it. But, you know, congratulations to Carly. He definitely outdrove me today for sure.
Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, my parents, Mile to Wild Fabrication. After Dark Speed, Van Steel for the suspension parts, everyone that's involved, Rich, Dave, for helping me get the car together. Couldn't have done it without them.
Jared Smith brings it home third.